please support the Freedom from Religion Foundation. Ron Reagan, lifelong atheist, not afraid of burning in hell.
It was in the director's cut?
Unrated.
Jesus, as you've never seen me before. I couldn't breathe. My face was all swollen.
Full-on King James version, baby.
Don't rape a dolphin. Welcome to Atheist Airwaves on Secular FM, your source for secular perspective on news, religious idiocy, and despicable hilarity. I'm Jay Guerrero.
I'm Christian Ferris.
I'm Amanda Stevens.
And I'm Susan Turpin. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter by searching for Atheist Airwaves. We record live every Thursday at 7:30 Central, but tonight is another exception, actually. This time it's Jay's fault. So if you're listening via podcast, we encourage you to join us in the Ustream chat room and catch all the really fun things that we probably shouldn't say.
And we are so on time tonight. 7:30 on the dot. And I have no idea that happened because Turpin shoved in her mouth a huge handful of peanut butter crackers. Like,
oh, she shoved in her mouth a huge handful. Huge handful of...
What is that? You would mishearing things.
Peanut butter crackers. And I thought there's no way she's going to be able to talk, but here we are. So.
Bam, bitches.
I'm not going to touch any of those jokes that should really be thrown in there.
Oh.
Anyway, go ahead.
Our intro audio this week is our first rerun. This was it's not the same clip, but it's the same words that we used, I don't know, a show last year. Ron Reagan. We've been doing the show long enough that we have reruns, which is awesome.
That's pretty good. I like it. It's
so last year we ran that clip, not that clip, but those words because Ron Reagan did a radio spot for Freedom from Religion Foundation. And this week, actually tomorrow night, Thursday, May 22nd, they are running a television ad with him on The Daily Show and The Colbert Report.
That's awesome.
Right? So
I totally agree. I think it's really awesome that Colbert is doing it, considering his stage or his night job. I don't know what you call it.
His night job? Are you considering him like?
No,
is he a hooker?
He could be. I mean, he's
I'm not
brainwashing little
judge.
Kids. He's like a preschool Sunday school teacher thing, isn't he?
No.
Yeah.
He's an atheist.
What?
I swore to Bob that he was.
An atheist.
You know that whole act on the
joke?
Colbert Report is completely satire, right?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, Jay's
let's all take a moment.
That's okay. It's
Okay,
totally
extend the finger, point it at Jay.
Anyway, go ahead.
I'm glad we could all share that moment.
Anyway,
I mean, I've got many of those to give out. I mean, you just have to find them.
All right. So I think it's also worth noting for people who don't know, yes, Ron Reagan is former U.S. President Ronald Reagan's son. So I imagine Black Sheep. Do you know what his standing with the family was?
I recall that he was the black sheep last time I was really paying attention to the Reagans, but...
Yeah, Ronald probably doesn't really have a big problem with him right now, currently. But
well, not anymore.
I'm gonna guess no.
They're cool.
Wait, okay, hold on.
Their relationship's a little cold right now.
No, I mean, is it just me or is Senior dead? I mean, is that one of those other things I didn't pick up on? Okay, just checking.
So
The
for
subtlety.
everyone playing along at home, yes, Stephen Colbert's Colbert Report is satire, and Ronald Reagan is dead. Things you've learned on our show.
And we're only like 3 minutes in.
All the things you can learn from Atheist Airwaves.
I love it.
So let's move on to the show then.
So let's talk about why people believe things that aren't true. So last month, the results of a 3-year-long study out of Dartmouth, the results were published, and for those of us who are skeptics, the results are kind of disheartening. Brendan Yan, a poli-sci professor at Dartmouth, worked with a team of political scientists and pediatricians to test the question of whether pro-vaccination campaigns could change parents' attitudes towards vaccines. Each household received one of 4 pamphlets. One was evidence linking the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine and autism, a leaflet from the vaccine information statement on the dangers of diseases that the MMR vaccine prevents, photographs of children.
Good masturbation material. Right
I
there.
know, right? That would just be...
Babies with measles?
Yeah, I'd fat
That's
to
my
that.
sweet spot.
Guys, that's gross.
Of all people?
Why is it me being...
It's the third thing we've learned today.
Jay draws the line.
So
infants with measles, mumps, and rubella.
let's recap. Stephen Colbert satire. Ronald Reagan dead.
Jerking off.
Jerking off to sick babies is
Where Jay draws the line. We have found Jay's line.
yeah. I wasn't aware that even existed.
Apparently, I'm gross. Okay, sorry.
So, photographs of children who had suffered from the diseases, measles, mumps, and rubella, and a dramatic story from a Centers for Disease Control and Prevention about an infant who almost died of measles. Now, this was to test if science, emotions, facts, or stories could change their minds about their view on vaccines. The problem is that the result was a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
And that's particularly disheartening. While participants in the survey reported a better understanding of the lack of a link between vaccines and autism,
They didn't care.
yeah, the study found that the general viewpoints didn't change.
Unless they were predisposed
Yeah.
to believe the contrary.
Go ahead. No.
I was just well, go ahead.
I was just going to say that this is... I don't believe you about Colbert. I think he's actually teaching Sunday school.
He is.
Okay.
The chat room's corrected me, so whatever. So we've only learned 3 things. Okay. What I really liked about this researcher, Dr. Nyhan, is I loved his journey, his story. He started getting interested in why people believe goofy things during the 2000 election, George Bush versus Al Gore. And how he called it a fact-free zone where people were just saying whatever and it didn't matter, and no one could correct it. So he founded one of the first fact-checking websites to help combat those lies that were being told. And in the subsequent years, what the hell was that? What did you just do? I mean, it was like
Everything just got turned down.
Yeah. I don't know what just happened.
It's back.
There we go.
That was odd.
I have no idea.
We blame you.
It was like right when you press that. So whatever.
It's the clicker thing.
I know,
I
but
press
just-
that every week.
When in doubt, blame Jay.
Okay.
That works. That's really weird, though. Anyway, go ahead.
So in the subsequent years, he actually won an award from a conservative group and wrote a book critical of the Bush administration for the BS, spinning that they were doing. And now he's been engaged in years-long research to answer the question if if factual correction is ineffective, if telling people the facts doesn't correct the errors in their thinking, how can you make people change their misperceptions? And I can't imagine a more important question to ask in today's age.
And especially considering how many people are so convinced that climate change and global warming and stuff doesn't exist, even though there's so much science to back all of it up. Apparently the science just isn't good enough for them.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's because they, especially down here in South Texas, everyone works out in the oil fields.
Yeah.
And so if they accept that fossil fuels are contributing to our deaths, that directly impacts their ability to bring money home.
No, it does. This is actually an interesting topic because with my employment situation, I've been offered jobs in the oil field several times, and I absolutely refuse to go no matter how much money they offer me. They actually offered a lot of fucking money, a lot of money. But, sorry, Ferris. But yeah, I've had these discussions with people that that are out there, and they're feeding their families off of them, and they ask me why I won't do it. I said, I think if you're part of the problem, then you're part of the problem, and I don't want to be part of that problem, at least not in that aspect. And they always have another way around the discussion, something that allows them to feel better about themselves, when in fact they're not really. I mean, they're still doing what they're doing.
Turpin is actually supporting the oil industry. And
I know.
Well, so I'm not criticizing you. Actually,
I am.
Because what I want to say is,
Kidding.
Right now, people are needed to work in the oil industry. I mean, that's a necessity. In fact, people will continue to be needed in the oil industry because we use it for a lot of other things besides burning it. So I'm not all that concerned with people working in the oil fields, people who are in oil companies or oil services companies. What I'm concerned about is people who do that and reject the fact that we need to be doing new things, that we need to be slowly moving ourselves off of oil and into new ways of generating energy. That's what we need to do. And that's where people are standing in the way, because the profits of these companies, and they are funding this research and creating fear, uncertainty, and doubt among people, and giving these people whose livelihoods depend on the industry a stick to hold on to so that they can resist change. And that's the real problem, because we need an oil industry for a lot of different things.
We do. I've had this discussion with several people, and I've criticized people in my family that I otherwise think are very, very bright people that make really good decisions, but they refuse to give up their antiquated way of thinking. And I've had a few people, come to me and say, "Well, really, they're helping." I'm like, how? And they say they're helping because they're just speeding up the process to get to the end of the oil reserve, which is only going to further. I guess what they're trying to say is the faster we get there to the end of our oil reserve, the faster we're going to be forced to come up with these new technologies. And I think that is just absolutely backwards way of thinking. And we can do it otherwise. We can do it now and not destroy these things.
It's kind of like tying weights to someone's feet because they're about to jump off a bridge and kill themselves. I'm just trying to help, man. I want to get you down there faster.
Yeah, let's just stand on the throttle real quick.
Yeah. Humans.
If we burn all of the fossil fuels, it's over. I mean, you can't burn that much fossil fuels and still live on this planet.
Right. I mean, aside from the fact that they'll be gone and we won't be able to use them, and we're not going to be able to breathe.
But it's okay, because that's not our problem, because we're not going to be dealing with that.
Well,
It's going to be someone else's problem.
It depends on if you live in China or not.
But it's a lot easier to see the risk to your paycheck than it is to see the risk to the environment. You feel the lack of money, or you feel the threat of the lack of money much quicker, because most people are living paycheck to paycheck or somewhere pretty close to that.
Sure, yeah.
Especially people who are out in the oil fields. So it's a matter of
It's scope.
Yeah, it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's like, I need money, and so it's not going to help. Not having the ocean in Colorado is not going to help me if I can't feed myself.
Yeah. And like Jon Stewart said on the Daily Show last night, he was like, like the sea level rise is coming in like 200 to 500 years. He's like, well, fuck, I don't know any of those people. I don't care.
You know what's sad is that's a lot of people's reactions. Is they're like, it's really not that big a deal. They think that 200 to 500 years isn't as soon as they think it is.
Right.
Like they're
That's like your grandkids.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
I actually-
future grandkids.
I actually said this to my wife the other day. I was like, as long as it doesn't affect my kids, I'm not all that upset about it. Because I don't know those other kids. I don't know their kids. I'm not invested. I wanted to talk about my hypothesis on the evolutionary benefit of this kind of thinking, and this is just a total
Ferris plays at philosophy.
Yeah.
Pulling it out of your ass.
I'm just completely hypothesizing based
He
on
does that
very
frequently.
little things. But
what it is up to interpretation.
Yeah.
So before I hypothesize, I wanted to go back and tell the chat room to shut the F up. We know he's a Catholic and he teaches Sunday school. Stop talking about it.
What the chat room is telling you is that I was right.
Yes, but they've been telling me that for the last 5 minutes, and I read it and acknowledged it the first time.
I'm just gonna say this. I was right.
I used to like our chat room. Our chat room
That doesn't happen very often.
I know, right?
Not at all.
There used to be cool people in that chat room. The other thing is Kiefer's in the chat room.
Yeah.
Oh, what for finally?
I like how it's Kiefer 666.
That's awesome. Hi, Kiefer.
That makes me happy.
Back from her European vacation and finally deigns to, grace us with her presence.
That's exactly what I was going to
So
say.
when you
Had
said
some
European
Danes, Is that
vacation,
what you said?
Huh?
She had some Danes over there? Is that what you said?
You know
Potentially?
Kiefer. That's not all she had. All right, so let me get back to this story. So I think what I've been thinking about all day, trying to process what this means to people, is that, when things seem to be going okay, changing can be detrimental to survival. So, if you put yourself in the time machine and go back 6,000 years, and your best buddy Ugg tells you, hey, you know what? We should go over there and ride that velociraptor instead of running away from him all the time. It's like testing his hypothesis could be bad for your health.
could be fun though.
It could be fun, but you may die as a result of listening to him. So I think that, just what is going on?
What? Here.
We can't blame that on Jay.
Oh, you know what it is? It's just the headphones. That's
Yeah,
why.
we're good.
Huh.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry.
Sorry, chat room. We're having headphone problems that are really annoying.
Quit. It was fine.
No, my left channel went out. I'm
Oh.
just trying to We should replace that. I've actually got another cable we can use, but we'll worry about
Leave
it
it
later.
there. 80
Okay.
Cut 2 in the chat room says, Bill O'Reilly told me that Colbert is a Catholic.
And Papa Bear is always right.
I'm down for riding some Velociraptors. Let's do it.
Okay.
Sure.
But the other thing that really kind of clicked with me is debates I have with people who favor spanking, because one of the most common arguments I hear from people who are like, yes, you have to spank people, is I was spanked and I turned out okay. It's this thinking of, as long as everything seems to be all right, don't change it. Doesn't matter if it could be better. Doesn't matter if riding velociraptors could be totally awesome. It's risky. Let's not do it. Even when let's not do it is, we're Thelma and Louising off the cliff. It's like, well, we're still cool in the car. So until something bad happens, let's just stay in the car.
So how does change happen? If
You
you're not
have-
doing anything
You
risky.
have to go over the cliff. And
You
then
have to
the
prepare for it.
and the people behind you. So a whole bunch of people have to die by going over the cliff.
Right.
And then the people behind them go, whoa, we should stop the car.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with the environment, by the time we go over the cliff, everyone's going over the damn cliff.
Yeah.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
And it's only people that are really going to suffer. Like, the rest of the planet will be fine.
I
It'll
don't know. I mean,
adapt.
by and large, yeah.
People
I mean,
will die.
I have actually had people make that argument, like, oh, we can't kill the planet will go even if we die. It's like, well, yeah, but I'm not really concerned about the rock so much. Like,
Yeah.
there's a whole lot of rocks in the universe. I'm more concerned about the
Us,
thing
yeah.
on the rock.
Yeah.
yeah.
The
I mean,
sustainability.
and we are only killing ourselves. That's a great point.
Not only, we're killing.
Right. We're only killing the world as we know it.
Right.
This is actually a really good topic. I'm going to come back to this in post show. Let's
Okay.
go on. Let's move on.
One other thing I wanted to say about this, though, this research doesn't suggest a solution. I think they have to keep going. I loved the quote from the researcher. He said, about his results, he said, it's, we were depressed. It's very depressing. And it is. It does not in any way suggest a workable outside the lab result. But the scary thing is that it actually suggests a way to control people. And that's what really concerns me. I mean, we already see it in the fear mongering that goes on, and how parties in this country tie well-being. We can't afford to move to sustainable. What it'll do to the economy.
Sure.
You won't be eating.
Yeah.
Sure.
And they're using this stuff to do that.
Yeah, this is definitely a topic I want to come back to, the short-term scope versus long-term scope, because some of the things I'm going to tell you, you're not going to agree with, and we're probably going to get into a fight.
Buckle up, chat room.
Related, the state of Wyoming is one of many who are fighting back against the Common Core curriculum. Now, this is a weird case because
This isn't Common Core, though. This is just the science standards.
Yeah.
So it's
Right.
separate
But
from.
I think is what it is. National Science and Geological
I don't know.
something. I don't know.
thing. All right, so the thing here that drives me crazy is like science educators, including like self-described conservatives, scientists, even companies like Exxon and Chevron were like, yeah, these standards, they totally make sense. You should totally do this. And then you have this this woman from the Wyoming Liberty Society or whatever.
Liberty group, right? And
Yeah.
anytime you have the word family or liberty in the title of your group,
You're
you
just
know
screwed.
it's a cluster fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just gonna be.
Here's what's funny though, because like I saw this crazy woman, and her first statement in the article was like, "We shouldn't have the government in our education at all."
Oh my god.
So I had to look her up. So she is Susan Gore, who is the heiress to the Gore-Tex
Yes.
fortune, right?
Do you remember what Daryl Ray told us? I think it was Daryl Ray telling us about what Gore-Tex and they actually do. They're a science. They build hearts and shit. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So, first of all, like, her grandfather was the one who invented Gore-Tex, right? He's an engineer who was publicly educated at, like, public universities, so
Right.
good job, lady. Keep government out of your money, I guess. The second story that really cracked me up about this lady was where she tried to adopt her ex-husband to get more shares of the company.
Adopt? Did you say
What?
adopt?
Adopt your ex-husband.
You actually can do an adult adoption. It doesn't.
Shut
No, I swear to God.
I
What
know this is
benefits?
a little off topic, but yeah, she
No.
was just like, no.
What benefits do the adult adoptee get?
It's really mostly it's mostly symbolic,
Yeah,
just for the
It's-
sake of.
Well, that's boring.
Yeah.
because if she adopted this guy, her ex-husband, then she would be entitled to like his shares of Gore-Tex.
What did he say about it?
It ended up in court, and she was basically told like, no, you can't do that. I don't care how rich you are.
Wait. She was trying to do it against his will, or
It seems like she did it and then like filed the paperwork, and
On
people
his
were like,
behalf?
what is happening here? You can't just randomly adopt a dude.
Did she?
Listen,
So anyway, that's Susan Gore of Gore-Tex.
I want to just adopt a random guy.
Why don't you adopt Jay?
No one wants that.
Change your last name from Guerrero to Ferris. That's totally awesome.
no.
Okay,
That's
so
a horrible idea.
It's a great idea.
So yeah, that's Susan Gore, the crazy who is leading Wyoming against the science standards.
I just have this image in my head of her changing some grown man's diapers. I don't know why, but
That's a whole other subculture.
It
Yeah.
really is. Stay away from that.
If that's what
please.
you're into.
and Jay will tell us about it. So
No,
let's just shut it
Jay
down.
will not tell you about that because Jay does not want to know about that.
That's the one thing that he's not into.
So there's like Walter Hushback, a high school science teacher in Cheyenne who served on the Standards Review Committee in Wyoming. He says that he's conservative, but he said that the critics were just like bullies. They're
Of
just,
course.
yeah. And then my other favorite quote from this story was Marguerite Herman, a lobbyist for the American League of Women Voters and a member of Wyoming for Science Education, said, "We acknowledge and appreciate the revenue that has been raised and that runs this state from oil and gas extraction and from the coal mining, and it is a fact that our schools are well funded because of it. Nevertheless, it doesn't change a scientific fact."
I love
Amen.
Yeah.
Friggin'
If
loved it.
only, lady.
There's a Republican state representative, Matt Teeters, who really confirms that what they're doing is actually what we were just talking about in the previous story, because he outright says that teaching the facts would wreck the economy of Wyoming.
Yeah.
It's about money. They don't care that they're going to kill everybody.
Yeah, no.
It's about the economy. And what I would say to a guy like this is Texas will beat you. We won't even try to stop when we're in midair. We will ride this mother right into the damn dirt.
That's right.
So get off the train now. Get in front of it. Change your
Get in front of the train?
no. It's exactly what I was saying. I want this guy in front of the train.
Okay.
Because if he were to say get behind it, then you would have made those sorts of jokes.
There's no winning with Jay. But seriously, there's time for you to look at what you're doing and change how you are operating. You can change slowly, because you have the luxury of time right now, to slowly change the economy of your state to be sustainable. And especially Wyoming, where no one lives there. So, I
Yeah.
mean, you've got all this land that you can do all kinds of wind and solar and all kinds of stuff. Get in front of it.
Can we
Yeah.
start a militia there?
And in the
You're a
meantime,
little late for that.
like you can't get a job as a petroleum engineer or a whatever if you don't have a solid science background. So one of the science facilitators for the school district said, like, do you want our kids to have these jobs, or do you want other people to come to Wyoming and take these jobs from us?
Right.
And I know that for a fact down here in the Eagleford Shale, like, they sent out from the oil companies, they went around to the different high schools and basically told kids, stop dropping out of high school and coming out to the oil field because we're not going to hire you if you're dumb.
Right.
Basically.
Didn't you say that happened over it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You have to know science in order to do
Sciencey
Well-
stuff.
anything, really.
And I gotta say, I am a carpetbagger. I am one of the people who came down from the north during the economic downturn and took jobs from Texans because
You're like an anti-Mexican.
Yes.
He flew south.
I'm practically a Canadian.
God.
I'm a snowback.
Carpetbagger.
Do y'all not remember history class?
I know, right?
I know.
Did you not hear that? He's a snowback. I fucking killed me.
Christian Snowback Ferris.
Oh my. That's right.
If I may,
You broke Jay.
I broke the Mexican.
For once without this Goldschlager.
Oh, you didn't,
Jägermeister.
you didn't even have to use a shovel. Okay, let's bring this back.
Oh my.
So what I was trying to say. I came down here and took a job from a Texan because your education system sucks.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
You continue, and then when the delayed reaction of the economic turndown hit Texas, because our legislature only meets every 2 years, so we couldn't react to it for 2 years. And the first reaction, save the $7-8 billion we have in the rainy day fund, suck all the money out of our already
Education.
crappy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the more you do that, the more carpetbaggers like me are going to swoop in while your economy is doing well. And until you kill us all with your oil and gas, we're going to take all your jobs.
And I think a lot of times they wonder why kids are wanting to leave Texas in order to go to school. Because, I mean, if they're lucky enough to, graduate high school actually having learned something, lucky enough, then they are a lot less likely to want to go to any more Texas schools. They're just like, nope, I'm going somewhere else. And I don't blame them. I really don't.
Yeah, it was tough for me moving down here because the biggest thing is I heard about the schools down here. And with 2 children, I was petrified. And I live 60 miles away from my employer because the schools suck. And I had to go where I had to prioritize my kids' education. Which leads me into the other point I want to make about this is what they're saying in Wyoming is that they want facts to be determined locally. They say they question the whole idea of standards, and they think that it takes away parental choice, and that local school officials should be making choices about whether they teach evolution or not, whether they teach real climate science or not, whether they teach biology correctly or not. I should be able to go to any place in Texas or the country and know that what they're going to be teaching in that school, I should not have to go with a 30-page checklist.
Yeah.
How old are you teaching your children the age of the planet is? Check. I shouldn't have to do that. I should be able to assume that you're teaching children facts regardless of where you go in one of the wealthiest countries on the planet.
Related, it is actually illegal in the state of Texas to teach children factual sex education.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Is that why I always got abstinence only?
Yes.
Please expand on that. Because I have, my children won't like for sex education, but
Yeah. You cannot present homosexuality
as a thing.
Basically,
Or-
you basically just have to say, if you are gay, you will get AIDS and die. that's pretty
Well,
much.
obviously.
And it's law, and you can't teach.
Wow.
You have to teach like the failure rates of birth control and condoms, as opposed to, hey, if you do have sex, maybe try these so you don't get gonorrhea or pregnant.
These things will break and you will get gonorrhea or pregnant.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They pretty much strive to convince every single student that no matter what they do in order to try and protect themselves, they're just going to end up pregnant or STI riddled.
Okay,
I have
so
literally heard you might as well use a garbage bag.
Yeah.
Does that work? I mean, I think they're
unless
cheaper.
it's
Not
a
in
dental
my
dam.
experience.
Okay, now serious question here. Okay, so you've got one side of let's just use the local economy here. You've got one side, the health department, who's trying to fight these things, who sees the pandemics and the epidemics and these things going on, and then you have the education system, which is doing the exact opposite. They're fighting each other. Why the hell are they fighting each other?
Because facts are the enemy in Texas, apparently.
But if you have one branch of local government, or or small government, whatever the hell you want to call it, the health department, the health crap, I don't know what exactly you want to call the whole
Health and Human Services
Yeah,
in the
that
state
shit.
of Texas.
They see the problems. They have the facts. They know what's going on. Why? Where's the breakdown? Where's the rift?
The politicians hear them, they just don't take them really seriously. Like, let's look at last year when they defunded Planned Parenthood. They cut every Planned Parenthood, every affiliated clinic out of like the women's health program, and it decimated the program. The program saw, what was it, like 70% fewer women the year after those cuts went into effect, and they said, no, we've given all the money back, so it's good. And Health and Human Services is saying, but we still don't have clinics to get that money and see these patients. And the politicians continue to say, no, it's fine. We gave you all the money back. It's good.
I think politicians are beholden to ignorant people who vote. And scientists, universities, and the health department are not. These are not people who are voted into office. These are people who are paid to get facts.
So stop voting for these idiots.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stop the process of voting, because obviously it's
here's-
not working.
No, here's
It's not working in our benefit.
okay, Anakin Skywalker, back up a little bit.
It's not working to our benefit.
He's not that bad.
Stop slaughtering the Tuscans, and let's come back and
This-
regroup.
And the Jedi Padawan.
Leave the younglings alone.
Oh dear. There was the snort.
You're breaking
So-
everybody today.
Kiefer in the chat room says garbage bag equals better than nothing. So
Oh,
There you
there's
go.
that. So if you are learning abstinence education and you're not sure what to do, garbage bag is better.
do they sell lubricated garbage bags?
I remember when abstinence only went into effect, because like it seemed like one year we had actual like knowledge, and then the next year it was just like pictures of diseased sex organs and an air horn passed around the room. Like every 3 seconds, whoever had the air horn had to stand up and blow it. And they were like, you have an STD because you had unprotected sex.
What?
Yes.
When did that happen? Like around.
It was, I was in high school, so that was like 90, I'm going to say like 95, 96,
Okay.
maybe, shortly after the Democrats lost
Yeah,
every office in the state of Texas, basically.
Because I was in elementary school from the 93-94 school year until the 97-98 school year. So, I mean, since all that happened, you know, whenever they
Yeah.
weren't doing sex education
Yeah.
at Windsor Park.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, that makes sense.
I don't know. I wasn't in school in Texas long enough to do the sex education thing. I was in Missouri, and I really wasn't going to school anyway, so I don't remember.
There you have
But
it.
You really pissed off Kiefer, by the way, and she says you need to start voting, Jay, all caps. But I think that's this. It goes right back to the story previous to this one. We are voting for the wrong people, and we're voting for the wrong people because we are really dumb at learning lessons and absorbing facts into our opinions. And our elected officials know this. They know that they're not going to win by trying to present facts. You know, hey, it's crazy that you can look at the statistics for abstinence-only education and continue to promote it. It doesn't work. We know it doesn't work. They continue to say, oh, sure it does.
Yeah.
What?
It's that change thing.
Yeah.
They don't
Last-
want to change it.
Last summer at the Capitol, during all of the abortion special session thing, during one of the Health and Human Services Committee meetings, they were actually discussing this. A couple of the senators, and I don't remember who it was, but the female senator was basically like, we need to teach kids, you know, how not to get pregnant, and then they won't need abortions. Surprise! And the male senator was like, no, because you do that, and then they get so excited from you talking about sex that they can't even get the condom on.
What?
That was literally, like, you can find the audio on the internet. I swear to God, I'm not making this up.
So let's pull the chat room. Has that ever happened to anybody?
so excited about sex that you can't even get the condom on.
Yes.
That's like in the same mindset of you know, women, like, men can't control themselves, like they just have to
Yeah.
rape you.
Yeah.
Like
Do we want to change up the chair?
I think
Am I creaking?
the other chair's probably just as creaky,
Probably
but
just
we
creaky.
can try.
Okay.
You want
It
to try
doesn't
it?
matter.
You want to try
Yeah,
the
I'll
chair?
just sit here
It's
and try
okay.
not to creak.
Okay. We've been trying to figure out what was causing the creaking, and we just noticed. Okay.
It's all your fault.
Let's talk about Kev.
Oh, Kev.
Oh, one thing I wanted to ask before we moved on though.
We're 3 fucking stories in.
Don McElroy. Don McElroy was a dentist, right? He was the head of our State Board of Education. The chairman of the State Board of Education in Wyoming is a cattle rancher. Why are we putting dentists and cattle ranchers in charge of education in these dumb states?
Because they got money and they got power.
Basically. You know
That's-
what? I know Earl, and he's a good guy. I think he should be on the school board.
That's it,
I
right
see
there.
him in church every week, so
She
I know
nailed
he's
it.
smart.
She nailed it.
Exactly it.
Yeah.
I don't think. Okay.
All right, so speaking of ignorant idiots,
Actually, hold on. Corpus Christi Atheist meets every Sunday at 5:30. This is a surf club weekend. If you don't know where that is, then you haven't listened to our show before. CC Atheist, that's the ccatheist.com is the place for you to find out all the details of our local events. And if you want to connect with our affiliates, visit southtexascor.com. Okay, now let's talk about an idiot.
now let's talk about ignorant idiots. This is the most hilarious thing ever.
This is pretty good.
Yeah. I couldn't even come up with a really good analogy for this, but 2 complete morons put on the gloves this week and went toe to toe and just went to town on each other. Pat Robertson told a caller on his 700 Club show that, quote, "You have to be deaf, dumb, and blind to think that this earth that we live in only has 6,000 years of experience."
Ding! One for Pat Robertson.
Yeah, didn't we talk about that a little while back where we were all
Yeah.
like, yes, dude, go.
He's been saying this routinely, and that's why this person called him, is they were like, "Hey, Pat, come on, it's 6,000 years," and he's like, "No, still not 6,000 years." But Ken, old Kev, Ham
Kev.
punched him back in the most hilariously unself-aware statement, saying that Pat Robertson was expressing his, quote, utter ignorance of science. That came out of Ken Ham's face. Now, in the context he was talking about, he was actually accurate that Robertson was being scientifically ignorant, but still, that Ken Ham accused someone.
Pot kettle.
He went on to say that secularists and atheists now love Pat Robertson. So
Because of his pagan views.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, what?
As an atheist, I can categorically deny this accusation. I still do not love Pat Robertson.
And I concur.
Wait, I thought you liked old balls.
what?
There's a sentence no one wanted to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know any.
Anyway,
All right, I think you're trying too hard, bro.
I'm remembering a conversation that was had on the air
I don't-
weeks ago.
balls?
Dude, we were all drunk that day.
I was dead at the time.
So I don't know any atheists who love Pat Robertson, but I know plenty who love to watch them punch each other. I mean,
Yeah, I would pay-per-view that.
A gladiator style
That would
throwdown.
be amazing.
So he actually also challenged him to a debate, either at Regent University or on the 700 Club show.
I missed that part.
So I'm kind of torn between whether that would be epic or just annoying. Like, would it be just popcorn,
I am
Popcorn.
idiot
told-
punch an idiot, or would it be like the 40 minutes of Ken Ham and the Bill Nye debate, only for 2 flippin' hours of just nonsense?
Who would have the better slideshow, though?
Well, obviously, Ken
Good
Ham
old,
has some.
good old Kev.
I mean, does Pat Robertson even know what a computer is, really? Like,
That's a good point.
That is a really good point, actually. I mean, I kind of think he's convinced that the camera that he stares at every day is like some kind of alien that's broadcasting him all over the universe.
Porn demons.
that is God's eyeball.
No,
And it takes him to the people.
I do think that this is worth the risk, though.
Yeah, no, I would watch it and I would kill myself if it got bad.
We'd all have to be really drunk. Really drunk.
Drinking game for that one. So,
Easy.
going around the room, who do you think would win, Pat Robertson or Ken Ham?
Pat
And
Robertson. I think it would
why?
be Pat Robertson because he's actually been, I mean, as sensible as a sensible, stupid mother sticker could be for like the past few weeks. He said some things that weren't completely stupid.
Is
Amanda?
there a winner here? Really?
Yeah.
We
I-
all
that's the
lose.
thing.
yeah, basically. It's like 2 idiots got to talk at each other for 2 hours, and we all lost.
Susan?
Bill Nye.
Bill Nye wins, even with his crappy slides. I kind of think that Ken Ham would win it because Pat Robertson, even though he's right on this one issue, he's not a smart guy, and he does not have the wall of text ability that Ken Ham has. Ken Ham can spout nonsense. He could literally go for 2 hours without taking a breath, spouting scientific sounding nonsense the whole time. You could bury him in just garbage.
That's a good point. And Pat's only rebuttal is going to be something just stupid.
Right.
Yeah, he'll go off on like an old man tangent.
Mm-hmm.
Because Pat Robertson has the personality of a wet dish rag.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
Yeah.
I really think that Ken Ham is actually a big reason why people have a hard time changing their opinions on stuff. Because he presents everything, these emotion-based arguments, people see that gut reaction to it, like how old the Earth is and climate change and stuff like that, and it's all emotional reaction.
I think it's more smoke and mirrors because I think what Ken Ham does is his audience is mainly comprised of stupid people.
True.
And what he does is hand waving and big words, and it sounds scientific and plausible, and they're like, well, he sounds like a real smart guy, so I'm going to go with him. And I think that's
Plus,
what happens.
Earl on the school board really likes it.
Well,
And old Bessie, too.
I also want to say, chat room, I know Stephen Colbert, Catholic, Sunday school
but
teacher.
you didn't.
He does now. He is willing to concede that point.
We're 40 minutes in. You can stop reminding me.
Okay.
The other thing that I wanted to bring out that Ken Ham said was, he said, quote, Pat Robertson illustrates one of the biggest problems we have today in the church. People like Robertson compromise the word of God with the pagan ideas of fallible men. And I think he's right. This is a big problem for the church because when you have people who will say the Old Testament is not accurate, the entire religion crumbles. Christianity cannot stand on an Old Testament that is not factual because the story of Jesus makes no sense anyway, but it makes zero sense if the creation story is incorrect because the only reason he had to die and come back was because of original sin. And if that's bull, then the whole religion falls apart. So
Yeah.
Ken Ham is smart here to say that.
Okay.
All right, that's all I had to say about that.
Okay. No, I think Ken is starting to, from the whole Bill Nye thing, I think he's starting to try and, he's really at a loss for publicity lately. And he's doing things like picking fights, because now he's picking fights with Hemant Mehta, which, funny enough, he's doing it. Why? Because he's giving out free copies of his book, The Young Atheist Survival Guide, at public schools.
Just like the religionists like Ken Ham want to do with their religious books.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
The only reason Hemant Mehta is desiring to do that and able to do that is because they are handing out Bibles
yeah, I
and
mean,
other
the
garbage.
Gideons have been doing it for how long?
Right.
Right. So, yeah. Kev pulled some comments made by Mehta out of about when he was talking about Answers in Genesis and just the associated silliness of Answers in Genesis and his museum of dumb toys and whatnot. But he was trying to prove that atheists are bad, mean, horrible people. They're not. Okay, so
Can I give one of the
yeah,
quotes?
go ahead.
Because one of the things that he quoted Hemant Mehta as saying, and I didn't see it originally, but I flipping love it. He brought up this quote. He said, "It seems like Ken Ham just wants to take children's minds that are malleable and easily persuaded, and warp them before they're old enough to know better. He's like a Christian version of Joe Camel." I'm like, yes, that is such an apt description.
It really is.
He's like, selling them just a taste of Jesus on the playground so that they come back.
It's just a dime bag of Jesus, man.
I mean, for those of you who don't know what the Young Atheist Survival Handbook is that the full name? Am I screwing that up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I pulled the Amazon description. It says this handbook is a resource for parents, teachers, friends, and young atheists themselves. It discusses how to deal with teachers and administrators who promote faith in public schools, handle the peer pressure and ostracism that may come with being an outspoken atheist. It is not promoting atheism. It is just saying if you are, or if you know someone and you care about them, hey, this is how you might help the situation.
Right.
It's not like he's not trying to spread atheism. He's not.
Yeah, and one of the things that Ken Ham said was the book the students will receive, if they want one, is made in a supposed effort to make atheists out to be friendly people. That monster.
Oh my god.
What an
dare you.
asshole.
I mean, most of us, at least in this room, are mean, horrible people. But
Yeah.
not all atheists are.
I mean, we stopped masturbating to babies with measles, right?
I did.
For the remainder of the show, what I do in the privacy of my own home is none of your business, Amanda.
I try not to make windows into men's souls or other parts.
Okay.
He also, and as you were saying, Jay, he was talking about how Ken Ham was saying that atheist message is one of hopelessness and purposelessness, and that's so far from. There is so much more meaning in the life of an atheist. I have so much more meaning in my life now that I don't believe that I'm going to live forever if I just, do the hopscotch thing correctly.
Wait, I can do that? Hopscotch?
No, you can't.
No.
Hopscotch for Jesus. It's a thing.
Let's move on to Missouri.
Oh, Missouri. Jay, how was Missouri?
Which part?
Any
Missouri,
part?
Missouri is like really purple, so you can really run into either
Purple?
extreme.
What the?
It's not
A
red, it's
balance-
not blue.
a
It's kind
balance.
of
Oh,
between
why are
the
you
two?
always about politics? You a white guy. You're an old white guy. Politics. It always comes down to politics.
because that is how these things. We're talking about politics. This is a political story, dude.
It is a political
Fair
story.
enough. Fair enough. I concede the point.
Anyway.
Parts of Missouri were fun. Parts of it sucked.
Okay, well, good to know. So there's two proposed pieces of legislation in Missouri treating the teaching of evolution in science class the same way as abstinence-only sex education was taught when I was in middle school, as in you had to, get a waiver for it. The two bills died in committee. No, yes, we had to get a waiver to participate in abstinence-only sex education.
Where they teach you nothing.
Yeah, where they show you pictures of STIs and that's it.
And then you masturbate to them later. That's what you do with pictures like that.
Not with the babies. So
Guys,
there was.
this is really creeping me out. Like, that whole idea is really freaking me out a little bit. I don't know why.
I love how it's Jay that's creeped
I
out.
know.
Yeah,
right now.
we've creeped out
We know
Jay.
the line. We know the line.
Like I'm really concerned for our souls because I'm not that creeped out, and
Neither am I.
We're just like,
I'm not.
haha, funny joke, and Jay's like, you guys, seriously.
but seriously, if Jay is like judging me like that, I feel like some part of my brain is damaged or something.
Wow.
Anyway.
So House Bill 1472, which was sponsored by Representative Rick Bratton, and House Bill 1587, which was sponsored by Representative Andrew Koenig? Koenig?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't.
Koenig.
Koenig?
Okay,
Okay.
You Star Trek loser.
that's right.
This is one
I
of
am
those
a
stories
Jedi like my father before me.
Star Trek is better. Go.
Luckily, the two House bills never actually made it to the House floor for a vote due to the adjournment of the state legislature. Now, Bratton's bill would force parental approval before the science of evolution can be taught in the classroom and offers the parents a chance to remove the child from class so they don't, learn science.
I think that's a better solution. I don't support it. I think it's a better solution than stripping evolution completely out of curricula and letting the crazy people remove their children. But that bill would actively generate students who are not ready for college.
True.
You're taking students and you're making them, you're guaranteeing that they cannot handle a college level biology class.
Yeah.
Because evolution is the foundational principle of many disciplines.
Yeah.
And they're going to wind up working
Biology.
really crappy jobs the rest of their lives. And sorry, people are going to be there anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with what you're saying, but I mean, it's not like it's taking a huge winning population of our culture out of the game.
But you don't know. There could
Right.
be some brilliant scientific genius locked in some Southern Baptist family or
then
whatever.
he'll find his way out.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And I was actually this is a complete tangent, but I was researching public education today because I'm weird. And Thomas Jefferson was talking about public education and how it was important to provide scholarship for even the lowly laborers because you can separate a few geniuses from the rubbish, is what I think he called.
No wonder I like that guy so much.
Stupid people are rubbish. I like it.
Yeah.
So, Bratton claims that the way that the science is currently taught in the Missouri classroom is an absolute infringement on people's beliefs. But he swears he's not anti-science. I swear, you guys.
Right.
Totally not anti-science at all.
Cross my heart.
So, Koenig's bill would take away the administration's ability to prevent teachers from teaching students completely wrong information about scientific controversies.
Right. It would be completely up to every lunatic teacher to teach whatever lunatic thing is in their lunatic head. It was literally the teach the controversy bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is no flipping controversy, guy.
No.
If your view on the way that the universe is created and the way that life came about is based in religion, it has no place in a public school at all.
I totally agree. It's times like these where I realize why I keep my head out of these things is that I lose all faith in our country when I realize that this is something a lot of people actually want. Like they really want to teach absolute crazy crap as fact to our children.
This is
Your children, sorry.
This is the this is the thing that I really love that Bratton said, this legislator. He said, quote, even though what's being taught, evolution, is just as much faith and, just as much pulled out of the air as, say, any religion. I was like, yes, dude, at least, even if you're wrong on the evolution part, at least you're admitting that religion is completely just pulled out of your ass.
It's all malarkey.
Yeah, I had a friend tell me, like, well, Darwin recanted on his deathbed. And I'm like, that doesn't really change anything.
Right.
Because, another 100 years of scientists verified his data and replicated those experiments. And that's why we have this data, and not just because Darwin said, hey, guys, I've got a crazy idea.
Yeah, and then another argument that I've heard is, they've determined that Darwin was wrong about this and this and this. It's like, yes, that's how science works.
Yeah, yeah.
It's amazing that way, isn't it?
Yeah, you have hypotheses. You test them to see if they're right or not.
Right.
Because science has room for evidence and fact, but not room for opinion.
Okay. So let's move on to some of the really screwed up stuff we found this week.
This one is really messed up. So there's a 26-year-old. Her name is Miriam Ibrahim. She's a doctor in Sudan. She's also pregnant. And this week she was convicted of apostasy and sentenced to 100 lashes for adultery by marrying a non-Muslim. And then after that, she is to be hanged to death for allegedly changing her religion. The court this week gave her 3 days to recant and become a Muslim once more, and she refused.
It's a religion of love, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Look at all the peace on the gallows.
That's right.
Once we spatter the place with your blood, then we're going to hang you to death because we're peaceful.
That's right.
And what gets me is that this woman who's 8 months pregnant was in shackles in her cell. Like, they went into her cell and she was in shackles. And it's like, how can you call yourself a religion of peace and do things like this to people? I don't understand.
The weird thing is that she initially, it took me a while to wrap my brain around everything that's going on in this case, because she said, I did not deconvert from Islam. My mother was a Christian. She raised me as a Christian. I've never stopped being a Christian. I continue to this day to be a Christian. And I was like, okay, how are they doing this? The reason being that women, obviously she's getting 100 lashes for marrying a Christian. Women in their culture are not allowed to marry non-Muslims. The men, however, are allowed to marry women of any faith, but their children have to be raised as Muslims. So she was a Muslim in their eyes because her father was, because this is proselytizing through banging chicks. That's what this is.
I mean, to be fair, there are a lot of gods thrown around when you're banging chicks.
That's true. Well, there should be anyway.
If you're doing it right.
I guess even if you're doing it right, oh God, yeah.
There's a difference between oh God and oh God.
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
That doesn't go there. What?
Not in
It does now.
Not in the case of masturbating to babies.
in countries with Sharia law. They don't care whether they're going oh God or oh God. This is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Or you get 100 lashes and you are hanged to death. So obviously all the normal countries, reasonably normal, because are we even that normal? Just by comparison, I guess we are.
Dude, what is Steve? Like, what is normal?
Did Jay just drop acid and not tell us?
I don't think that was his acid voice.
That's a really good idea, though. I should totally get weird while you guys don't realize what's happening.
Get?
Yeah. You act as though that's like something that you have to not already be. So anyway,
Hey guys, that's not nice.
Are we nice?
I'm just kidding.
Anyway.
Sorry.
My
Christian's
condescension went up to 11.
gonna have to edit a lot.
I'm going to have to edit all of that out. So let's just move on.
Oh dear.
Moving on. So we have yet another instance of faith-based medicine, but this time it's out of Canada instead of out of America, which, you know, usually you think
My homeland.
Practically Canadian. You don't apologize enough to be Canadian. Michaela Salt is an 11-year-old who was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Try and say that 5 times fast. It's a fairly treatable disease with a 90% survival rate following 2 years of chemotherapy.
That's pretty good as far as cancer goes.
Yeah,
If you get cancer, that's the cancer you want, right? Is there better cancer than
I
that?
feel like you've said that exact phrase before.
Not that I recall.
Or
But
I've
okay.
heard it recently. So the thing is, though, is that chemotherapy is hard. So she's been having a really, really rough time with it. And Michaela read a statement in a YouTube video expressing her desire to cease her chemotherapy treatment and try traditional medicines, which is really just code speak for a bunch of homeopathic bullcrap.
Right.
Which I think everybody knows how we feel about homeopathic bullcrap here. So, McMaster Children's Hospital turned a case over to the Children's Society of Brant, and they are supposed to have the final say in her case, but there is a woman who is an Indigenous health researcher, and she's saying that the only way to solve this without a whole bunch of backlash is to just let her do it, let her cease the chemotherapy as she wants to. But
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's heartbreaking what she
How old
says
is-
in this
how old
video.
is the child?
She's 11. And it's really, really heartbreaking what she says in this video.
So she did a video trying to tell people why she wanted to stop chemo, and really she wants to stop chemo because it sucks. Chemo's gonna suck.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be a happy day.
Yeah.
You know. Let me play this because she's 11 and this is so crazy, and her parents are playing into it. In fact, her parents probably wrote this. She's reading this statement. This is just a little clip of what she said.
I know that what I have can kill me, but I don't want to die in a hospital on chemo, weak and sick. But when Jesus came into my room and he told me not to be afraid, so if I live or if I die, I am not afraid. Oh, the biggest part is that Jesus told me that I am healed, so it doesn't matter what anybody says. God, the Creator, has the final say over my life.
Oh my god.
Yeah, she didn't write that.
No.
Yeah.
No, those were not her own words.
No,
I'm sorry.
not at all. And the thing with the traditional medicine is that it's apparently involves nurturing her psychologically to get her fighting spirit back, feeding her a healthy diet to repair the damage done by chemotherapy, and giving her herbs chosen specifically for her cancer.
Right.
Okay, so
Oh
I-
yeah, the cancer herbs. Why didn't we think of that before?
No!
Those
Wait,
damn
those-
Canadians have been hoarding all them cancer herbs.
Is that the kind that you smoke?
It's probably.
maybe.
It's time for World War III. We're invading Canada.
Okay, guys, I have a serious question.
Sorry.
And you're not going to like this question, but I'm going to pose it as a question, okay? So if these people like this, are willing to die because they're dumb, why do you have a problem with it?
Because she's an 11-year-old child.
Exactly.
And her
Okay.
parents are killing her.
Okay.
Because this is not her line of reasoning behind it.
Okay.
Her parents are, and parents who do this kind of stuff are so willing to stick to their beliefs and stick to this delusion
No, I get that.
that
And
they're willing to
is it-
sacrifice their children.
Is it not highly likely that this child is going to grow up with the same mindset?
Who cares?
I do.
Because going back to what Stephen said earlier, is that not everyone goes down the same path.
No, that's true. That's very true.
I don't share the same beliefs and values as my parents.
No, that's true.
Um,
I
and
totally
I think she
agree with you.
she deserves a shot. And one story we're not going to be talking about today, but which has really been on my mind, is that child that was locked up and hit with a cattle prod and beaten with a belt and a buckle because they said it had a demon in it.
Yeah.
By your reasoning, we should just let that happen because it's none of our business.
No.
How is that any different than letting these people kill their child?
Because the child in that case is it's not consensual. It's not of their own volition. In this case, the
What?
child.
Yes, it is.
An 11-year-old can't give consent.
No, the 11-year-old cannot give consent, but the 11-year-old is saying, "Look, I don't want to do this." It's not like being caged and beaten.
So what you're saying is that if the 6-year-old said, "No, I like it. I want to be with mommy and daddy," that we should let them.
No, that's violence. No, I don't. There's absolutely no instance.
This is killing. This is causing the death of their child, and you're less concerned with that than a child being beaten with a belt. I think that's pretty sick, bro.
Okay.
But what you kind of have to think of is that it's not. I genuinely don't think it's actually her choice. I think it's 95% her parents and
No, I
probably
agree.
5%
I agree.
her, because chemotherapy. I mean, I wouldn't know, but from what I understand, it kind of sucks.
Right. Yeah.
And I know when I was 12 years old and having to deal with a whole bunch of medical stuff, there was a lot of times that I was like, I don't want to deal with this stuff. I still have moments when I'm like, I don't want to deal with this stuff. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to give up because I still have a chance to go down.
No, yeah, maturity changes your perspective and responsibility, things like that. I totally grasp what you're saying. I was just posing the question to see what you guys would say.
And I remember a story you've told a couple of times, Susan, about how someone in your family suggested praying your diabetes away, and it would be as if her parents, instead of supporting you through this garbage medical stuff, agreed with that and went with that and caused you to die. That's not an acceptable thing.
Okay.
It's stories like this that make me really, really glad for my parents. My mom's pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
Woo! Okay, so there is the #1 quarterback prospect in the country for the 2015 recruiting class.
Sports ball, y'all.
Yeah, none of this means anything to me because I don't watch sports. But this is very exciting.
I think that makes 4 of us.
So this kid, he's
not a puck.
he's in his name is Josh Rosen. He received offers from Michigan, USC, Texas, Notre Dame, and more schools than that.
Notre Dame.
Sorry, I go to Paris and I'm in that frame of mind. And UCLA. And he chose to go to UCLA. He's an interesting kid. He attends a Catholic high school. He is the son of a Quaker and a Jew.
What a schizo childhood that kid had.
And he's a self-proclaimed atheist. And this doesn't seem to be a problem with anyone, which is really refreshing.
Right?
Right, yeah.
Like, the high school was like, he's just a good kid, and he plays his football, and we love him. And, wow, that's pretty fun. Not to be like, creepy atheist kid, you've got to conform, or we're not going to let you play football.
I think one of the administrators or coaches said, we're not a school for Catholic boys, we're a Catholic school for all boys. And I was
Yes,
like,
I
wow,
love
that's
that.
Holy
amazing.
cow, that's so enlightened.
That's really refreshing.
I went to a Catholic school, and by the, when I was super religious when I started, and I was totally not when I left. by my senior year, I was hanging out in the back with the Jewish kids because it was the same kind of thing. They welcomed anybody of any faith or none, although I had a little bit of a harder time than the Jewish kids probably. But I mean, it was the same deal. So I mean, there are at least decent schools out there, and I think it's amazing that the #1, whatever all those words you said about sports ball work,
Quarterback.
is an atheist and out. And again, be out. It helps everybody.
Yeah, and I liked a couple things that he said. in the interview, like there is, of course, it's a Catholic school, you know, prayers happen before games and whatnot, and he's like, you know, it doesn't bother me. I just kind of stay there and just be respectful.
I always kind of liked being the only atheist in large groups of Catholics who are praying because they all have like their heads bowed and
You
you
get to
look
watch 'em?
around.
Yeah.
Every once in a while you see someone else doing the same thing. You're like, right on.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna hang out later, man.
So, like, did that guy just scratch his balls in the middle of praying to Jesus? That's really not cool, right?
J.W. Roman in our chat rooms wants to know what he runs the 40 in, and then PD Baby says that we probably don't even know what a 40 is, but I want to dispute that because Jay is drinking a 40 right now.
There you go.
40, it's a tall
Clearly.
boy. You obviously don't know what a 40 is.
Let me have my joke.
What's the look of utter confusion on Turpin's face?
There's
That's
always
just her normal
yeah.
look.
You know how people have
Bitchy resting face?
yeah. I was
She
trying
has
not to
stupid
curse.
resting face.
Yeah, confused resting face.
I think she's trying to even.
Okay.
Oh
Nope,
my.
still can't even.
Moving on to Nebraska.
Woo, Nebraska!
Ben Sass is the Republican nominee for United States Senate in Nebraska. I just like saying his name.
Obviously.
He is almost guaranteed to be the next senator from that state because it's a very, very red state. And that makes his position on religious freedom that came to light this week even that much more disturbing because he's going to be in our government. Essentially, what they found on his website is that he believes that our government cannot ever, under any circumstances, intervene in a religious person's personal beliefs. So if you think you have to feed your church the cyanide-flavored Kool-Aid, that's
Totally
cool,
cool.
man. Yeah, if you think
I
that girls
agree.
should not be educated, that's none of anyone else's business.
Yeah.
And if you think that you should be honor killing your daughter, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Go for it.
You want to stone some gay people? No, don't worry about it. It's just my religious beliefs. It's
Lit-
totally fine.
Literally,
Yeah.
any perspective or action you want to take, as long as you say Jesus after you do it, get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
Cool, I'm down with it. Let's do it.
We have to go to Nebraska though.
Yeah.
Oh.
Quick.
yeah.
Nebraska.
Too much corn, sorry.
I've been to Omaha.
I just,
Sorry, Omaha. I was kind of trolling through his videos on YouTube. This guy's so nuts. So first, I love the video he has of his holding his kid. His kid is picking his nose the whole time. It's like awesome political ad. But he also calls the administration the Obama regime. So he's one of those tool bags.
Yes.
But I also imagine his stance means not only that you should be able to do whatever you want if Jesus wants you to do it, but that also means that marriage equality should be illegal, that interracial marriage, if you say Jesus, then no one should be able to be interracially married. It's not about, again, it's not about religious liberty. It's about Christian supremacy.
yeah.
And it's about our beliefs over every other belief. And everyone else must be subservient to our worldview.
Yeah, we can't let that happen.
No.
It's going to happen. He's going straight to, unless someone can be convinced to vote.
In
Oh,
Nebraska.
you think I'm gonna do it? Like I'm gonna be the one guy
Yeah.
who turns the tide against
Yeah.
this nut.
It's going to be by one vote. And it's going to be like, Jay, you did it, man.
That's right.
You're gonna be the
I
deal
mean, I
breaker.
can stop it if you really want me to, but it won't be through a vote.
The twig that turned the tide.
And that's another thing that I'm just going to have to bleep out so that the Secret Service doesn't come pay you a visit. I don't know that you get Secret Service visits for threatening
Not for
a nominee.
random candidate who's
Some
I didn't issue a
Nebraska
threat.
Cowboys.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Clevin Bundy
Nebraska
will show up on your
Cowboys?
doorstep.
Is that such a thing?
Is that a sports team?
No, I mean, like,
Good
are you
lord.
going to have cowboys from Nebraska come and hunt you down instead of Secret Service agents? God damn it, never mind.
Like those Clevin Bundy yahoos, just Nebraskan.
Okay, yeah.
So
That
we-
would be fun.
We have more stories about religious liberty in
Religious
huge
liberty.
scare quotes.
So, the president of the Family Research Council, which is a right-wing Christian think tank dedicated to tromping on the rights of anybody who isn't them, Christian supremacy, yay, said in response to the federal lawsuit challenging North Carolina's ban on gay marriage, which actually involves an Ohio-based United Church of Christ and a dozen other clergy members, that the religious freedom the UCC is arguing in this suit does not actually apply to them.
Right. This is awesome because they've gone from like Justice Roy Moore in Louisiana and historian David Barton saying that religious liberty only applies to Christians, and now they've even expanded it and said only certain Christians.
Yeah.
Only
people that share our views
Yeah.
does religious freedom apply to.
It's such a weird coincidence.
Yeah.
So weird.
So he actually said of the church, they're playing games here, trying to turn the effort that so many Americans are now faced with preserving religious freedom. They're now trying to do a jujitsu move and say, we're going to use religious freedom to say we have a right to do same-sex marriage.
Hi-ya!
Well, there is no... I like that. I like that little addition. Well, there is no foundation for that. There is no Orthodox Christian holding that has ever said marriage is between people of the same sex. This guy's a tool bag. I'm sorry. There is. I literally can't even.
I can't add anything. Yeah.
Only people who share my beliefs have the freedom to express those beliefs.
Exactly.
And I think everyone should insist on that right.
Yes.
So everyone,
Yes.
everyone grab a sword, drop some acid, and we'll just by morning we'll have it all worked out in this country.
Freedom! I have a pocket knife and anti-anxiety meds. I'm down.
That's so
Okay.
close.
Let's do that thing we
It's
talked about
so far away.
in the chat room. Let's do that instead of
Oh,
doing
yeah,
that
yeah.
thing. Yeah, you can just edit this part out. by
Okay,
the
we'll
way.
just be silent after you stop talking, or after I stop talking.
Okay, so moving on to the next story. Okay, so we've talked about the Foundation Beyond Belief before. They're a charitable organization. We've talked about them in one way or another many times. They keep coming up on this podcast. This week they're in the news in New York Times. They are a humanist organization, and they're really humanist to the T. They support 5 different charities each quarter, and they give a bunch of money to these charities, and that's what they do. They're a charitable organization that gives to other charitable organizations. Now, the 5th category that's been around since, I think, 2011 is what they refer to as Challenge the Gap. And it's something that started off as kind of a test to see, how this was going to work, because what it was is they're giving money to other worldviews, so opposing ideas. This was kind of a risky thing for them because a lot of their contributions come from the NONEs, the nuns.
Oh, Sarah Kiefer on the phone.
Oh!
Sarah Kiefer, you are on Atheist Airwaves.
Again.
Hi.
Hey!
We miss you so much.
Thanks.
I miss
Thanks,
you guys.
This is our correspondent calling in from where?
I'm in the Washington, D.C. area right now.
I like how she's always very, very vague about
I
where
know,
she is.
I mean, do you remember when she was actually on the show and we were talking about people wanting to do her laundry? So
She's just that sexy.
there's some serious creepers out there.
Creepers for Kiefer.
So how was Europe?
So
Sorry, what?
it was awesome. I had a great time, and I saw all the Vatican stuff, like the dead Pope, which was awesome.
I'm kind of jealous, actually.
How well preserved was the dead Pope?
He was well preserved, so I have to say, this is actually funny. The lady that was the tour guide, she said, if they pull him out after a certain amount of time and he's still preserved, then he gets to be eligible to be a saint. And so suppose the Vatican said, they didn't embalm him at all, except they used some formalin.
Yeah.
Except for the embalming we
And then
did,
they
total.
said- Right, and then they said, and they didn't put anything, no makeup or anything on his skin, except for a thin layer of wax.
Yeah. That's it.
Technically, wax, I guess, is not usually considered makeup, so
No.
I guess they're winning on a technicality on that one.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So did you call in to ask us a question or just chat with us?
I don't know. I haven't listened to any of the shows where people call in yet, so I'm
Me either. It's okay.
Testing.
So how long have you been back?
A month.
A month.
You've been back a month, and this is the first time you've called us?
Or listened?
I was gone for 6 weeks, and now I've been back for a month, and I'm starting a job in 3 more weeks, so I still have like 3 more weeks to hang out.
She's like, yeah, don't bring that up.
Although I will say, you know, while you were on our show, frequently Pennsylvania was a subject of open derision, and they just recently overturned their same-sex marriage ban. So, way to go, your home state. Woo.
Yes, finally. And somebody that I'm friends with on Facebook, because I was actually in Pittsburgh yesterday. I left Pittsburgh yesterday, but they shut down this one street in Pittsburgh, and they had everybody was like dancing in the streets and stuff. And this one girl I'm friends with posted on Facebook, "God, I can't get anywhere in the city. What's going on?" And then, does anybody know why the street is shut down? And I posted, "Oh, they're celebrating the gay marriage, overturn, whatever." And she was like, "It's so hard to get somewhere."
Screw their
They're
fundamental
like,
rights.
"Up again."
I'm tied up in traffic. This is an outrage.
First world problems.
All right, so let's go back to this story. And Sarah, tell us, would you contribute money to a religious charity?
Would I? No.
Okay, would you contribute money to a religious charity if the one thing that they had to follow, the one thing that they couldn't do, is they couldn't proselytize?
At all, or with my money?
At all. So that's...
I guess it would depend. I guess it would depend on the religion.
Yeah,
okay.
I would go with that.
That's fair.
One of the things that the Foundation Beyond Belief contributed money to was $10,000 to, who was that? The Baptist Joint Committee for Religious Liberty, because they signed on to the amicus brief saying on the Greece versus Galloway case, saying we don't think that prayer belongs in religious organizations. I'm still kind of torn. I see. So here's the thing: is like no matter what minority you're talking about, I think allies are important. Whether we're talking about, the LGBTQ community, the atheist community, whatever, I think finding allies is important. And obviously, if you're an atheist, the only possible ally you can have is a religious person. So that kind of...
There's a lot of religious people out there that I have absolutely no problem with whatsoever. It's the ones that are out there trying to make the world more religious and more Christian, and unequally so, that I have a problem with. So if they're giving money to other human beings that just so happen to stand for other worldviews, as they put it, but on the condition that they're not being assholes about it, I'm okay with that.
Jay Chavez in the chat.
I guess I take that back, because I guess I probably would donate to, if those are the Unitarians.
Oh, okay. You know what? I would have answered that affirmatively yes without hesitation before I moved to Texas, but since moving to Corpus Christi, I have a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth about the Unitarians here. But I think that's a good point. They are typically a very open-minded organization and even take non-believers. So one of the things that the Foundation Beyond Belief does, they actually also have the Beyond Belief Network, which Corpus Christi Atheists is a part of.
Really?
Yes. So we've mentioned that on this show, actually. And actually, you, with your recent Colonia cleanup, which I couldn't make because I couldn't leave the island because of the marathon, was highlighted recently by the Beyond Belief Network.
Very nice.
And you had no idea. But Amanda, why don't you tell us a little bit about the volunteer work that you did with other members of Corpus Christi Atheists this weekend?
Okay. We saw an article in the paper where they were going to, several local government officials had come together that they were going to do a cleanup at this colonia out past Robstown, out towards like Banquete.
Can you, to be honest with you, before I moved down here, I had no idea what a colonia is.
As I've told people like, hey, we're doing this colonia cleanup, everybody's like, what is a colonia?
I still don't know what it is.
It's basically an unincorporated settlement. It's kind of like a subdivision that nobody really got all the permits for, I guess is kind of the best way to say it.
It's like a barrio?
I
Like, what
I'm not sure what a
a
mean-
barrio.
Yeah.
I think a barrio is actually a little more.
yeah, that's like a
They have-
neighborhood, right?
they have
Yeah, they have permits.
Yeah.
Plumbing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Colonias
Colonias don't.
oftentimes don't have like wastewater. They don't have.
And where are these?
They're all over South Texas. They're all
Really?
over Texas, pretty much. It only recently became illegal to set up a colonia. It was basically if you had some land out in the middle of nowhere, you could like lay down a street and sell off these parcels to people to live on, and you didn't have to supply them with like sewage or water or electricity or anything really. It was just like, here, I sold you some land, and what you do with it, I don't really care. So you would have people living in like travel trailers, basically out in the middle of nowhere. They're very susceptible to any sort of change in the environment. They often flood when there are, rainstorms. In hurricanes, it's not a good thing.
So
to
it's
be
a
in
commune of
colonia.
dirty hippies?
They're not hippies, though, is the thing. Like, if they chose to be like, hey, we're gonna live out here off the land and be happy and free together, it would be one thing, but they're like...
They're just
"We're-"
impoverished.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
They're like, we're poor, but we're buying land because that's the American dream, and then they get there and it's like, oh, but there's not actually a house or, like, sewage
Okay.
Or
or...
a toilet.
So,
Yeah.
so what you're doing is you're
Yeah.
cleaning it up. You're going in and you're removing the people.
We were we were helping people with their homes. So and they actually ordered like 3 big dumpsters from the city of Corpus Christi, and we filled all 3 of those dumpsters up with the first house that we worked on.
Wow.
So they were
Oh my
coming
God.
back. Yeah, they were
What
coming
did you fill
back.
it up with?
Oh my god. Everything in the world. Like, this first guy, they started out, we were concentrating mostly on the disabled who lived in the colonia, and a lot of them lived in basically like double wide or single wide trailers. And so the first house that we went to, it was just everything that this guy had ever owned, he basically, I guess, just held on to, because that's what you do when you're really poor. You never know when you're gonna need something again, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So we pulled like everything out of his yard and just put it in dumpsters, and then
Was he happy about this, or was he yelling at you the whole time?
No, he was happy about this. So yeah, they're actually gonna do another one this weekend, and I can't go, but yeah, but that's happening if anybody wants to go.
Rebel 1852 says there was literally a van hidden in the tall grass.
Yeah.
Yes, we
Tucker
had to
told me
go
the same
in.
thing.
Yeah, we had to go in with
Is
like.
Amanda sure that she wasn't just on an episode of Hoarders?
It's quite possible.
I was just thinking the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really sad to see. Like, there was the house that we all gathered at was really quite nice. They had, running water and electricity and all that good stuff. It was a modern home. But then like right next door was a house where the roof had caved in, and so everyone was living in a travel trailer in the front yard with no amenities. It was that
Wow.
kind of weird dichotomy. It was just like, okay, this house has tarps over the roof, and this house has a perfectly functional roof. That's weird.
That's bizarre.
Yeah. So that's a colonia. And
Okay, well-
and so from time to time, government agencies will go like, hey, we have people living in squalor in our jurisdictional bounds. We should really like try and help them maybe. And so something gets done, and
No, that's refreshing that something gets done to help them and
Yeah.
not just kick them out, because
Yeah.
I've seen that happen a number of times.
yeah.
That's why I thought you were part of the cleanup crew.
No.
Nice. Okay, well,
Yeah.
congratulations and good stuff. I like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Helping people.
Yeah, it was funny when we first got there, though. They were like, you're with the Corpus Christi Atheists, because I had called ahead and
Right.
told them how many people we were bringing. And she was like, so is that like a church, the Corpus Christi Atheists? And I was like, kind of the opposite, but okay. We're just like a group. We're just, yeah.
It reminds me of what Kiefer said on the news. It's sort of like church, but without the God.
Yeah.
You should have been like, yeah, we meet every Sunday and get drunk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Usually not wine. It's mostly beer. The same thing. So, actually, do you want us to let you go, Sarah?
She's just been sitting here like totally patient
yeah,
with
I'm
us.
gonna go.
All right.
Oh.
Thank you so much for calling in. It's awesome to hear your voice. We miss you tremendously
I
on the
miss
show.
you guys.
Bye,
It's been a
Kiefer.
pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
What's with that Kiefer chick?
Let's jump ahead because we're talking about good things atheists are doing out in the community.
I agree. Let's move ahead.
And I wanted to talk a little bit about this piece that was in the New York Times this week, The Case for Soft Atheism. So Dr. Philip Kitcher was interviewed about what he calls, what he advocates for, which is soft atheism. He is a professor of philosophy at Columbia University, and so obviously Jay has no idea what he's talking about.
Nope.
But and I also, you didn't read it.
I started to read this, and I was just like, never mind.
Okay. So I don't think it'll come as a surprise to anyone that I'm kind of a strident atheist. So
No, you don't say.
I hear the phrase soft atheism, and immediately like my butterfly knife comes out. But given some of the other stories that I read it.
Yeah, it was the Onion article. Is that what you're trying to reference here?
Yeah, the other articles that we read this week kind of made me chill out on him just a little bit. But let me sum up what his case was, and everyone correct me if I get it wrong, because it took a long time. It was a lot of reading to get to what his freaking point was, I thought.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I was just like, screw this.
So he basically says that atheists like Richard Dawkins are missing the mark because they see religion as only dogma and doctrine instead of many religions that are, cultural traditions that pass along values, the more liberal religions, I guess. And he also notes that religions do good things, and so we should hold them and pet them and call them George or whatever, rather than just attacking them. Sorry, it's okay on my screen. It's just about iCloud.
Okay, I just want to make sure like the computer wasn't about to shut itself down. Okay.
So, is that what everyone else got out from this? Is that what everyone else got up from this story?
Yeah. I think there's more opportunity for us to work with. I think there's more opportunity for us to work with religious groups.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to just be like, hey, no, you're over there doing your thing. And I think we can both do our thing together. That sounded wrong.
What if your thing is like pictures of babies with measles?
What if your thing is soft? Atheism.
But yeah, basically anything will be better the more hands that you have in the project.
Really?
Yes. Yes. Go with it. The more hands you have in any project, if you're trying to help people, then the better that project is going to come out because you have more help. So,
sure.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I don't know. I'm not entirely convinced. I just finished saying that we need allies, and obviously those allies have to be theists. So I'm cool with people who are cool with atheism and also believe in God. Obviously friends, family are theists, and not many friends really, but family members.
And next year we are doing a project for the week of whatever it is. I forget the name of it.
It's the week of action around the Day of Reason.
Yes.
But I don't think we have to wait till next year. I think we should do a project with a church group. I think that is a good idea. I don't like that he's saying that liberal theists are beyond reproach, that you shouldn't say, because
you have to question everything.
Yes.
If you can't question everything, then it's all the same bullshit.
So, I can acknowledge that some religions do more harm than others. I love that you look really hot right now. You're like sweating and stuff.
For once in my life.
I've never seen that. But he says that, what he calls refined religion is outside of what new atheists are talking about. And I don't think that's exactly true. And I think he's doing in reverse what he's accusing Richard Dawkins of doing. Rather than acknowledging there are a lot of religions who are dogmatic and just about doctrine, I talk to people every day who are not about passing along values so much as they are, it doesn't matter what you do, it's what you believe. You must believe in Jesus. If you don't believe in Jesus, you're going to burn in hell. I talk to these people all the time. So for him to take a shot at Dawkins, although the one thing he did say that I thought was right on is that, sometimes he kind of gets out there.
Yes, he does.
And he says Daniel Dennett is probably Daniel Dennett is also a philosopher, so that's probably why he likes him a little more. But I think that he's just looking at it from the other direction and making the same error.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't read like a lot of religious viewpoints, nor do I read atheist viewpoints. I'm just like, I'm here in my little box, and I'm gonna think what I think, and if Richard Dawkins doesn't like it, he can kiss my ass.
What about Dr. Kitcher? Can he kiss your ass?
Everyone can kiss my ass.
Okay.
I also want to tie this back into something that Greta Christina wrote a few weeks ago when we covered it on the show about community consent being required by religion. Because did anyone else notice the guy who was interviewing him went a little nutty when he was telling him, well, you shouldn't call yourself an atheist. You should be an agnostic. You can't tell me that everything is wrong. And then went on his little banana thing. It's like, if we don't know everything about bananas, how can we, are we then going to say that bananas don't have taste? Guy kind of lost his mind a little bit, I thought.
People really, if you say you're an atheist, they always come back with that agnostic thing. Like, but you don't know for sure.
Right.
And like, I'm okay with people saying like I'm an agnostic because you can't know for sure. That's fine. But anybody else coming in and telling you like, no, you don't believe this, you believe this. No.
Right.
No.
Trying to tell me what I should label myself is a very, very quick way to get me to not want to take you seriously.
And the other thing is that just because you don't know something for sure or can't know something for sure doesn't mean you should believe in it or, agnosticism is about whether you can know. Atheism is about whether you believe.
Yeah.
I don't believe. And even if you can talk to me long enough and get me to say, and you actually don't have to talk to me that long to get me to say, yes, it's possible something like X exists, doesn't mean I should believe it or pretend like it's totally reasonable. It's the same thing as Sasquatch and with
the Tooth Fairy.
Right. I mean, with all due respect to Rick Dyer,
I was going to say, I was totally going there.
No respect for that guy.
I don't believe that he shot Bigfoot once, much less twice. I don't think the thing exists. Is it possible? Sure. But I don't believe in it, and there's no reason to believe in it. It's irrational to believe that thing exists. It's irrational to think that a God exists without evidence. When there's evidence, I'm right on board with you.
Yeah, and I know it's been said before, and I'm pretty sure you've said it before, that you would probably be convinced with enough evidence, but it'd have to be really, really good evidence.
Yeah, I mean...
None of this like Jesus on a tortilla.
Yeah.
No, that's not evidence. That's
I can
taco.
just feel it.
Yeah.
Jesus was delicious.
Okay.
Like how
everyone just stops. Jesus was delicious. End of show.
No, I'm enjoying the chat room. We've actually booted the first person out of our chat room. It's like it's a banner day. I mean,
I know
it happened. I mean, the chat mistress, booted someone, put him in timeout for 5 minutes. He came back and she had to boot him. So I mean, that's
by the way, chat mistress, thank you very, very much. I'm sitting over here, I'm writing notes and showing them. Somebody do this, please. Somebody do this. This is a travesty.
Kick him out.
Yeah. Well, whenever she's the only one with the admin privileges, makes it a little hard.
But I think that's like a big milestone in our show when there were over 20 people in our chat room, and we finally had to kick someone out.
Okay.
Amen.
Are we going to go to post-show now?
Let's do it.
Thank you for listening to Atheist Airwaves on Secular FM Radio, sponsored by Corpus Christi Atheists and the South Texas Coalition.
Is this like a Micro Machines
Machines
I mean, is like the post show going to be so good that we have to get there?
If you would like to compliment, complain, or make a suggestion,
Start all over.
whatever.
Yes,
Oh, I gotta do it.
Talk,
I gotta do it.
yes.
Okay. Thank you for listening to Atheist Airwaves on Secular FM Radio. We are sponsored by Corpus Christi Atheists and the South Texas Coalition of Reason. If you would like to compliment, complain, or make a suggestion, please write to us at god@atheistairwaves.com.
That's God at atheistairwaves.com.
God at atheistairwaves.com.
God at atheistairwaves.com.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Now, I was fumbling because I look up from the laptop, and Turpin, and those of you in the chat room were watching, was wagging her ears like Dumbo.
Well,
I don't know what the hell the deal was with that.
when I wear my glasses with the headphones, it starts to squeeze
Okay.
the glasses against. Starts to squeeze against. The
All right. I think we can probably talk about this in post show.
Yeah.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us.